Hey everyone, I'm Chris, and I'm here to rank Game of Thrones Season 2 from worst to best. Season 2 continues the trend of being mostly faithful to the books. I labeled this season as the Tyrion season because he is on fire in every episode and completely succeeds in taking the mantle Ned Stark once held as our main protagonist. Season 2 also puts us in the middle of the War of the Five Kings, and as such brings a lot of storylines. But even more, it is essentially a big build-up all the way to the famous Battle of the Blackwater. But first, we gotta go in order. So, Game of Thrones Season 2 ranked from worst to best. At the bottom, number 10 we have the season premiere, North Remembers. Yeah, I mean, this episode has a lot of setup and really not much excitement, actually. However, I love Tyrion's introduction because he is such a boss in every scene that he is in, and especially whenever he has a scene with Cersei. Just every line he says is savage and roasty. Robb scenes are also great because you really get to support the hell out of him. Like, honestly, you just want the Starks to succeed. They're the good guys, and he's the hero you have now. Also, the scene he has with Jaime, I mean, he just nails the comebacks. Like, you would think Jaime with his sharp, quick-witted tongue would be able to outwit a boy, but no, Robb wins. Unfortunately, this episode doesn't really have any standout moments because nothing's really worthy to stand out. So that ends us at number 10. Number 9. Episode 2, The Nightlands. More setup, but a little more exciting and interesting. Tyrion, once again, is a boss in every scene that he's in, especially when he kicks out Janos with this famous line, "I'm not questioning your honor, Lord Janos. I'm denying its existence." That's just awesome. Also, there was a lot of sex in this episode. Like, I was surprised. We cut from one sex scene to another sex scene. Like, alright, whatever. Sometimes the producers of the show just love to troll the audience. But also another thing that kind of bothers me with this episode is sometimes you just kind of end up spending long scenes with characters like Peter Baelish and Ross, you know, a minor character, over a scene you could be having with Robb Stark or Sansa. It just kind of seems odd and wasteful a bit. The ending, however, is a good cliffhanger, and it's cool how slow the White Walkers build throughout the show. I mean, last time we saw the White Walkers was the very first scene of the show. Dang. Number 8. Episode 3, What is Dead May Never Die. Now we're getting into it. It starts off exciting right away. Tyrion continues to be more of a boss in every episode he's in. His triple secret scene is very creatively edited, and the subsequent imprisoning and just savage roasting of Pycelle is another thoroughly entertaining scene with my man Tyrion. This episode also really makes you like Renly. I mean, sure, he's not a fighter or commander and not quite taking things that seriously, but honestly, he's just a good man with good intentions, and I want him to side with Robb really badly. Finally, though, we do get some standout moments, and it's a few actually. First, I love Cersei's rage when she finds out her daughter's being shipped off to Dorne. Very rarely can we sympathize with Cersei because she's such a vile woman, but if your own daughter was sold away, you'd be pissed too. The main moment that I love though is when she pushes Tyrion over in anger, which apparently was actually improvised by actress Lena Headey. It's just so sad. Like, you don't push a dwarf over, it's just mean. Another standout moment is Yoren's story about Willem. This guy is so underrated, and I love the way he talks. He can be so happy-go-lucky and then switch to serious on a dime. And the way he tells the story of Willem is so well done, and I'm just always so captivated by it. Also, seeing his face contort to absolute rage when he announces how he killed Willem is so satisfying. But the entire last 5 minutes of the episode, the attack on the Night's Watch, is really the standout moment of the episode. Mainly, I would say it's Yoren's last stand. This guy just goes out like a total badass. Gets shot with a crossbow, takes down like 4 guys anyway, who cares? What a champ. Also, Lami's death is so brutal and sad. Like, it's not often you see a show kill off a 13-year-old kid in such a gruesome fashion. And the quick thinking on Arya to save Gendry is a fantastic way to end the episode. Now season 2 is really kicking off. Number 7. Episode 4, The Garden of Bones. Noticing a trend? Yeah, less setup, more payoff, and the new setup is more interesting and the stakes are higher. Arya's taken to Harrenhal, which is just such a cool and scary place, but when Tywin returns, I just love it. He is the most likable, honestly, he's ever been when he just saves all these prisoners from being executed. Daenerys' story finally moves, yay! And the ending reveal of Melisandre giving birth to a shadow demon baby always gets a reaction out of people. And of course, Tyrion continues to own this season with his scene where he blackmails Lancel. I love how easily and effortlessly he verbally destroys this guy and basically owns him within 3 minutes. But even better than that, the standout moment of the episode is Tyrion rescuing Sansa from Joffrey's torture. Finally, someone stops Joffrey from being an evil prick! He just walks in and owns the room, and I love it. The Mad King did as he liked. Has your Uncle Jaime ever told you what happened to him? That is awesome on several levels. And then immediately he roasts Maren Tran as well. Just, Tyrion's on fire. Number 6. Episode 5, The Ghost of Harrenhal. Yep, it is still going. This one is barely better than the previous though. They're practically tied, honestly. All these episodes at this point are consistently entertaining and well done. Nothing much more to say other than state what makes it special. We finally begin the Arya and Tywin storyline, which remains one of the most interesting and intriguing to me and many others. Their epic stare down after Arya states anyone can be killed is so captivating. Fun fact, the storyline was never in the books, and many say it is one of the best changes for the TV show. Putting these two characters together was a brilliant decision. The standout moment of the episode, though, is without a doubt the very first scene where Renly dies. Whoa. This is a silver. That's the fastest ever a big character's been killed off in an episode. Everything was gonna go great. Rob was gonna team up with Renly and win, but not anymore. I just love how suddenly this whole thing happens and it completely changes the playing field of the War of the Five Kings. Number 5, Episode 8, The Prince of Winterfell. Okay, finally, we get some variety. Typically a bigger episode in a season of Game of Thrones, but unfortunately Prince of Winterfell doesn't quite move plot lines along that heavily. Daenerys is still missing her dragons, Jon is just kind of brought to his captors and that's it. Tyrion plans the defense of King's Landing for like the 4th episode in a row, and Stannis returns just to remind us that he is indeed sailing for King's Landing. The other storylines do move along towards some exciting developments. Arya seemingly escapes Harrenhal, and a standout moment, Robb and Talisa finally hook up. This moment makes me so happy. Very rarely does Game of Thrones give you a scene that's just so positive and happy, especially a sex scene. I mean, think about it. How many sex scenes are there that are consensual, not incestuous, and aren't with a whore? And yes, even though Robb is on his way to breaking a vow, I just cheer for them because they are so good together. Another standout moment is the ending reveal that Bran and Rickon are actually alive. Sure, we kind of figured, especially when Osha and Maester Luwin flat out say it before the reveal, but it's the added bonus of Bran being awake and overhearing them and the music that makes this moment so powerful to me. I mean, this poor, crippled 10-year-old has grown so much this season, and he's already forced to deal with really heavy things, and this is just one of them. Number 4, Episode 7, A Man Without Honor. This one calms down a bit after the previous episode, Episode 6. Jaime makes a return after being gone for more than half the season. His sharp tongue and funny comebacks make this very hateable character very fun to watch. Overall, this episode is, once again, mainly concerned with setting the remaining season's events in motion. By the end of this, several characters have made decisions that will haunt them forever. Catelyn frees Jaime, Theon kills 2 farm boys, Jon doesn't stay with Ygritte, and the big one, which is a standout moment, Jaime kills his cousin. This to me is Jaime's biggest sin of the series. Sure, pushing a 10-year-old out a window is messed up, but his reasoning was to protect his sister and family. He did it for love, however messed up it is. But this half-assed escape attempt did not need to involve him beating his teenage cousin to death. I mean, this kid was shown throughout the season as just a simple messenger who honestly probably respected Robb Stark more than the Lannisters, and he's even a Lannister himself. The conversation he has with Jaime gives us an opportunity to just sit back and forget about everything. Then, out of nowhere, Jaime bashes his head in to escape. And worse, he fails. And the ending is a standout moment for sure. I remember when this reveal first happened, I honestly thought they just killed off 2 more Starks. Sure, we've only lost Ned by now, but the Starks never catch a break, even though they're winning, and I wouldn't put it past the series to burn 2 little kids. Also, the soundtrack, Pay the Iron Price, is one of my favorites of the series. It really evokes this feeling of doom and horror, like you're about to make a serious mistake. And that's usually when they do use that soundtrack. Number 3, Episode 6, The Old Gods and the New. Here we go, now we got a Cyan. This was a thoroughly entertaining episode. A lot goes down. All the other episodes were about setup. This one, not so much. We finally get some payoff. Here are the standout moments. Again, we begin the episode with a silver moment, Sir Roderick's execution. This scene has always been rough for me. I mean, I really like Sir Roderick, even though he's kind of a smaller character. Just Theon's betrayal constantly makes me angry throughout season 2, but his biggest crime was right here. Roderick's last words are so badass, and it's just so brutal and tragic the way he goes out. He doesn't even get a clean execution. The rain, the music, Pay the Iron Price, the whole feel of the scene is so powerful. Other standout moments are Tyrion slapping Joffrey. First of all, the entire riot in King's Landing alone might have made this episode a Cyan. I mean, that's just a fantastic sequence, but this is a crowning moment of that. This is just why we love Tyrion. He can roast the king and smack him and get away with it. And now the final standout moment is a small one, but it's just always cool whenever I watch it. Arya names Amory Lorch, that's his name, as her next target, and tells Jack and Hagar, yo, you gotta kill this guy now. Literally in 4 seconds, the dude is dead. Out of nowhere. That is so cool. Welcome season 2. It took you a bit to get exciting, but the wait is becoming worth it. Number 2, Valar Morghulis, the season finale. Oh boy, this is a season finale that doesn't slow down at all. Lots of exciting moments and payoff all around. This really is a blue just because it's super entertaining and satisfying to wrap up all the storylines. Season 2 was mostly slow build-up, but it completely pays off in these final 2 episodes. Stand-up moments of the finale are Brienne's triple kill. I just love how she and Jaime do their best to hide his identity and communicate in a way non-verbally to each other. Shae staying with Tyrion can get the eyes a little misty. It just feels so bad for Tyrion, who's lost all the power power he had this season, but at least he still has Shay, his loyal true love. And of course, Jon killing Qhorin Halfhand is so sudden and shocking, plus the duel they have is a good tutorial for Jon to get better, because this guy has a lot of sword fights in the series. And finally, the ending of the season, arrival of the White Walkers. I remember when I first saw this, I was beyond hyped for season 3. I mean, wouldn't this get you hyped? This is the first time we fully see a White Walker, and seeing their whole army coming out of nowhere is so creepy and exciting. A fantastic season finale all around. And number 1, my favorite episode of season 2 is without a doubt episode 9, Blackwater. Blackwater is a classic. Everyone knows it. The first battle episode, the showrunners invested everything into this mammoth. We could forgive not seeing battles in season 1, and even in season 2 we were teased, but never got the satisfaction of seeing a true big-scale medieval battle until Blackwater. I absolutely love this episode, everything about it. I like to refer to this episode and other battle episodes as popcorn episodes. You can just kind of sit back and watch it with no context and still be thoroughly entertained. What helps is this episode focuses on just the King's Landing storyline. No lesser stories to distract from the main one, and the characters, Stannis being the Manus, Tyrion being the king of the season, Cersei getting wasted, the Hound piecing out, everyone's on fire. Now the battle itself is pretty dang good. While this is easily the lowest budget battle of the show, they get away with a lot. What I love most is the little vignettes of battle moments that you get throughout the episode, like a head being crushed, or the Hound chopping a guy in half, or Stannis cutting a man's dome off. Little violent bursts that add to the overall destruction. Without these little beats, the battle would just kind of be like throwing a bunch of action figures at each other, no real focus. And of course, what helps this compared to even something as amazing as Lord of the Rings battles is Game of Thrones gets bloody violent, and I love it. This episode has 5 standout moments, which is the most we've gotten so far. Let's take a look. The first one is one of the most famous shots from the show early on, the wildfire explosion, which is definitely a silver moment. Like, come on, it's a f***ing medieval nuke. Brilliant move by Tyrion, so amazing to watch. Next, the Hound piecing out and saying, "F*** the king." Until this episode, we never got so much focus on the Hound, and this is the beginning of the savage we all know and love. Next, Tyrion's epic speech. Silver moment as well. Most speeches are poetic and all about bringing hope to your troops, but Tyrion says, if you lose, your women will literally get raped. That's a fantastic motivator. And his ending line, "Those are brave men knocking at our door. Let's go kill them," is so simple and hilarious, but powerful at the same time. Like, who needs fancy words when you can just state it so simply and effectively? Next, we had Tyrion at his best. Here's him at his lowest when he's nearly assassinated by an ally? What? This stunned me the first time I saw it, and this scar remains on Tyrion forever. Dang. Podrick saving his life also is a fun surprise. Finally, the ending of the episode. When you have so much hype and you're unsure who will win, it's such an epic way to turn the tides at the last minute and arrive to officially announce, we have won. Boom. End of episode. You can't get better than that. Perfect structure the whole way through. Season 2 was a good season of television, but this episode made it a good season of Game of Thrones. So what's the final stats? We started off the season with 2 yellow greens, then had almost a constant stream of 5 greens, 1 lone cyan in the middle to spice things up, a blue to end the season, and a surprise purple to give episode 9s the status they deserve. Adding up the point values, we end up at a shocking 3.9, just 0.1 higher than season 1. Top 5 moments of the season are: number 5, Robb and Talisa hookup. Rarely in Game of Thrones you feel as happy as you do when you finally see those two just accept their love. I love it. Number 4, Renly's death. This is a moment I always remember from the season, because usually they kind of wait till later on to kill off major characters, but nope, Renly's dead, first scene of episode 5, boom. Number 3, Roderick's execution. Brutal, sad, a badass way for a heroic character to go out. Number 2, Tyrion's speech. This was his crowning achievement of the entire season. This whole season was all about him, and it led up to him being the savior of the city. And number 1, the most famous moment probably, wildfire nuke. That's, just look at it. Look at it. After everything, I struggled to pick a color to rank this season, but I think I can safely settle on ranking Game of Thrones Season 2 a Cyan. It's got a lot of build-up, perhaps too much, but the season does basically get better as it moves along, and if it weren't for the last 2 episodes, it would have been a green for sure. Tyrion was on fire, and this season made him my favorite character. And also, I just love the whole concept of the War of the Five Kings in general. Just constant attacking and betraying and everything. It's just classic Game of Thrones. Next Wednesday, I'll be ranking Season 3. Link to my Google Doc detailing everything in the description below. Please share your rankings, because I love to see what we agree and disagree on. Subscribe for more Game of Thrones rankings, and thank you so much for watching. See ya!